interesting races in Congress. Let's go to Ron Campius, Bureau Chief for the Jewish Telegraphic Agency, JTA. Speaks to us from Arlington, Virginia. Ron, we'll sort of set matters straight for us. It seems disagreement among a couple of polls about how the American Jewish community voted in this election.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think both polls appear to be legitimate, although the Republican Jewish Coalition poll has a smaller sample, 600 people. The J Street poll is like the other poll, the poll that shows the RJC poll showed what you described as a 60-30 split. The J Street poll showed the 77-21 split. In one sense, the J Street poll is a little more useful because the same pollster, GBAO Strategies, ran the same poll, precisely the same poll, with the same number of people, 800 respondents, in 2016. So it's one of those rarities, and when you're looking at polls where you can compare like and like exactly. And in that poll, Hillary Clinton won 75% of the vote, and Donald Trump won 24%. So you're seeing you're seeing it go up to 77 and 21. No, sorry, still Hillary Clinton won 70% of the vote, and Donald Trump won 24%. So you're seeing the Democratic candidate go up to 77, and that's outside the margin of error. So it's an easier comparison, and it does look like Democrats increased their share of the Jewish vote if you look at it according to those templates.
Right. We should know, with the exception of Orthodox Jewish voters that we know, according to polling, we're going to support in greater numbers for Donald Trump. But of course, they are a fairly small minority within the American Jewish community. We talked about a couple of Senate races involving Jewish candidates in some surprising states there, Iran. Give us a roundup of it, because it looks like at this stage some disappointment for some of those Jewish candidates for Senate.
Yeah, Al Gross is still battling it out in Alaska. He hasn't given up, but certainly the numbers look like they're not going in his favor. This was the Jewish Alaskan who was put out in his biography that he once killed a bear in self-defense and that he was born after an avalanche. And Mirav Ben David, who I don't know if she's the first Israeli. I think there might have been another Israeli American who ran for office, but she's certainly the first Israeli American who, with a very strong accent, she ran for the Senate in Wyoming on an environmental platform. I don't think she ever had a chance, but it was an admirable run because she tried. Wyoming is the most Republican state in the country. Matt Lieberman, Joe Lieberman's son, was wiped out in an open. In a run for an open seat in the Georgia Senate, and now that's going down to a runoff between a Republican and a Democrat. The actual scheduled race in Georgia is getting interesting. It looks like that's going to a runoff as well, according to Georgia law. If you earn less than 50% of the vote, it goes to a runoff. So the incumbent David Perdue looks like he's coming in with less than 50% of the vote, and his Jewish opponent, John Ossoff, is going to go up against him. And John Ossoff, he's an interesting candidate. He's matured a lot in the last 3 years when he ran for a House seat. He was a very effective debater with Perdue. I think to the extent that Perdue canceled their last debate. And I think, it's going to be you're going to see a huge focus on Georgia over the next 2 months, because the runoffs are going to be in January. And the Democrats need both those seats if they're going to control the Senate. It looks like they're going to need both those seats, and so it's not going to be pleasant in a way, because you're going to have two Democrats running for office in Georgia. One is African American and one is Jewish, and we've seen how bigotry can insinuate itself into campaigning here in the United States.
Well, let's pick up a bit on that last remark, and I'll leave it at that, because there were four candidates who together, four progressive Democratic candidates, females, sometimes referred to as the squad by the Trump administration, all of whom in varying degrees have been very critical, more to the left certainly, in their criticism of Israel than the mainstream Democrats. And all four of them have one re-election run, right?
They've won re-election, and at least one of them, probably the most critical one of Israel, Rashida Tlaib in Detroit, she's picked up some credibility because, as you know, Biden won Michigan very narrowly, and her get out the vote job in her district was apparently very impressive. So she's going to be able to say, I helped elect Joe Biden with some legitimacy. But not only that, they're increasing their number to 6. They've got a male member of the squad now, Jamal Bowman from New York, who pushed out Elliot Engel, longtime pro-Israel congressman in New York. And they've got Cori Bush from St. Louis. And the significance of that is 2 members of the squad, Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, back the BDS movement. And now that's going to be 3 because so does Cori Bush from St. Louis. So the BDS contingent in Congress has increased by 50%.
Okay, so that is definitely something I'm sure we're going to be hearing about and reading about in your work for the JTA, and certainly in the next coming 2 years. Ron Campius, Washington Bureau Chief for the Jewish Telegraphic Agency. Thank you for joining us on I-24 News.